4AD, baby. Been hunting this bear all week.
I grunted at him. He come running back in. We just smoked another giant.
Just an absolute giant. Lifetime bull for me.
Team 200 is presented by MoonGuide. Plan your best hunt.
You know, Team 200 and the show are really all about getting after the most mature animal in your area. And when Seymour introduced me to Travis and showed me the footage and the amount of work and time that this guy's putting into getting after the biggest bucks in his area year after year in a place like Maryland, I knew this guy was the kind of guy that needed to be involved with our show.
Is a stud of a buck. Boss Hog Jr. is his name because I got a big buck named Boss Hog that I've been hunting for a couple of years now, and I swear it's his son. Looks just like him. But this guy is...
Travis is just so crazy into whitetails, hunts urban areas in Maryland, and he's killing some really, really big deer. 140 to 160. Most guys aren't doing that in Maryland. Travis is the only guy I know that's killed a piebald. He's also killed velvet bucks in Maryland. And he's got this incredible rut hunt with some awesome audio of this buck just going absolutely nuts and doing a lot of slow music.
Big body, big aggressive, old deer. That is by far the oldest deer on the property. And that's what it's all about. Team 200, buddy. I'm trying to represent Maryland. It's another big head down in Maryland.
And the arrow is coming. You know, the great hypodermic did work. Luminox still on, shining bright. That was awesome, which, you know, really lets you see the arrow zip through them.
Travis is the type of guy that's going to go the extra mile to get it done. Put in the extra time day after day, scouting, trying to find these bucks in these urban areas. And he's consistently killing deer over 150 inches in the state of Maryland. Most people don't even know what a sika deer is, or that Maryland even offers a season.
And they are native to us now here in Maryland, and it's the only state in the U.S. where you can hunt these suckers wild.
Last year we did a Yeti Monster Minute on Travis's hunt for a big, beautiful piebald buck that he killed on video, and he had an incredible season this past year. So I was anxious to get Travis's footage in, put a show together, and see just exactly what this guy was all about.
The class of bucks in Maryland, you have your 120s, 130s, and 140s, and most guys are very happy with shooting the 120, 130 class. You hit 150 in Maryland, you're doing good. You have a trophy.
Middle of the summer, this is my hottest covert.
Where I'm hunting in Maryland, it's all about the trail cameras. This is my #1 scouting tool for identifying and tracking these bucks. My hit list bucks that I've named Bloody, Velvet Buck, and then Beetlejuice, 4 years of pictures of, and then Clubfoot, 3 years of pictures of this deer. These are the most mature deer I'm targeting.
Covert picked them up.
I can't believe it. We've got a giant deer on the ground. By far the biggest buck I've ever killed.
And I had a Ozonics pointed. He didn't pick up anything. Gave me a 30-yard shot.
Thank God I have an Ozonics.
Start seeing more deer more often and closer than you ever thought possible with Ozonics. Ozonics is the only product that actively and continually attacks game spooking odor in the downwind airstream during your entire hunt, allowing you to beat an animal's #1 defense, its nose.
In 2013, on a September hunt, I had a buck walk in that was halfway out of velvet, and he was a bloody mess. I got really good footage of this deer and had him right below me. Threw the binoculars on him and knew he was a 100-inch deer. I go home, I'm reviewing the footage on my computer, and that's when my son Chase said, let's name that deer Bloody. A lot of cameras to check. What are we looking for, boys?
Big heads.
Big heads. Let's go to work. Put out mineral, started getting trail camera pictures of him, and he literally exploded from a 110-inch deer into a 150-inch buck, which led me right into the opening week of the September 2014 season. I told my cameraman, it's Bloody, it's a shooter, get ready. And he actually stopped and tended to a scrape. In full velvet, he tended to the scrape, which was really, really cool footage. And I waited for the perfect quarter away shot.
Lit him up, I saw blood pouring out. I tucked it in, buried it, heard him crash. Hopefully you pick it up on the camera, but he crashed, he's done. That's a Maryland big head right there. That's my first velvet buck. I'm pretty stoked.
The blood trail was so extreme, so I knew I had my first velvet buck, so I was excited before I even laid eyes on him.
Right there. See the belly? And he's actually looking at us. Just recovered him. It's exactly where he was laying. He came down this hill hard, and I just noticed that he tore up the velvet here on his G4, but not that bad for the run he did, because he went through some thick stuff. Matthews Creed put it to him. I mean, I smoked him right behind the shoulder, and everything worked great. This is a buck I call Bloody. Matter of fact, my son named him. I had him half out of velvet last year, and bloody antlers and everything, and just passed him up. Obviously, he was young, and he put on close to 30 inches this year. And mainframe 10-point, big kicker, which I love me some trash. Team 200, my first buck of 2014. And I did it here in Maryland, my home state of Maryland, putting big heads on the ground. Velvet big head, 2014. I'm on the map, I'm excited.
My 2014 season just could not start off any better than it did. In the state of Maryland, we're allowed 1 buck per weapon season, which is 1 with a bow, 1 during shotgun, and 1 during muzzleloader season. So in Maryland, you play your cards right. If you kill them within the right season, you're allowed 4 whitetail bucks. And as long as you kill the appropriate amount of does, I can still target other bucks with the bow during gun seasons.
This is where all the hard work pays off in the fall. I run 12 cameras all fall. But this is when the blood, sweat, and tears kicks in. This is what you gotta do, is keep these cameras going.
The buck I call Beetlejuice is a buck that I had 4 years of trail cameras and actually got to watch his progression. This deer I'd never seen in person. It's like I had a relationship strictly through trail cameras. I never saw him in person until this day.
What does it take to fire up a mature buck? Estrus scent. Some scent products just don't work because they just aren't what they claim to be. Independent lab testing has found literally no trace of estrogen in the doe estrus scent products of other leading brands. Did you know that estrogen levels of a whitetail doe at peak estrus is over 30 picograms per milliliter? This level of estrogen is what you need to get a big buck's attention, and every batch of raw peak estrus is tested by an independent lab and certified to contain estrogen levels of 30 plus. Raw certified peak estrus, always fresh. No water or preservatives added. Just 100% peak estrus and 100% money back guaranteed.
So with 4 years of history on this deer, this particular day, and I'm actually there to film my dad. So in the beginning of the hunt, I whispered to my dad, I said, Dad, there's one shooter buck in these woods that I'm after, and I highly doubt I'll see him. And wouldn't you know, it's my shooter. You're gonna have to stand by. I knew it was a kill shot as soon as I hit the trigger. He ran off and heard him crash. He only made it about 80 yards. 4 years without ever laying eyes on him. Just to get him in the binoculars, I was so excited that I was gonna finally have an opportunity to harvest this deer. Putting the camera in my dad's hand to film me do the recovery.
What a gorgeous buck. What a gorgeous buck.
Check him out. Is he cool or what? I cannot believe that just happened. That was not supposed to happen today. This is a buck I call Beetlejuice. I got 4 years of pictures of this deer and never have seen him in person until tonight. Lots of velvet pictures of him, tons of velvet pictures of him. For the last 3 years, including this year, 4 years total, tons of velvet pictures. I literally got in the stand tonight to film my dad, and I told my dad, I said, Dad, I got one shooter in here that I'm after. Seriously, Dad, I'll see him, but if I do, you gotta stand aside for a second. My dad said, no problem. My dad's my good luck charm. And to have my dad there with me during this encounter with a buck I've been after for 4 years was just incredible. I mean, what an awesome day. You know, I always hear people say, oh, you're lucky, this, that, and the other, horseshoe. No, it's about putting your time in. You get what you put in. And I'm running 14 trail cameras right now on all my different properties, and it pays off. It just takes a lot of work, and yesterday it paid off. Awesome character, mid 150s. He actually went 156.
I'm gonna photobomb ya.
That's my second 150s class whitetail down, and I still have 2 more buck tags to continue my 2014 season.
For over 2 decades, the MoonGuide has been the #1 rated tool for serious hunters, telling you when giant whitetails will move and where you need to hunt. Now, you can accurately predict the best days and times to catch a big buck moving during daylight with the Deer Hunter's MoonGuide. Are you tired of hunting nocturnal trail camera bucks? Do you ever wonder why some bucks only show up during daylight on certain days each year? The Deer Hunter's MoonGuide is here to help, and it's unlike any other lunar tool you've ever seen. For effective preseason scouting, scheduling time off work, planning out-of-state hunts, and increasing your overall hunting success, simply check the MoonGuide's calendar to find the best days, times, and hunting locations to catch a mature deer on his feet during daylight hours. The MoonGuide is now available as a mobile app too, giving you exclusive tips from the pros, local weather, the rut guide, exclusive discounts, and the deadly red moon data. Plan your best hunt at moonguide.com.
I nicknamed this buck Clubfoot because on trail camera, it's so easy to identify him. His front left leg is just a huge club. He obviously broke it when he was a fawn or when he was 1.5 years old. In a nutshell, this is my 3rd year of trail camera pictures, and this buck literally exploded. After watching this buck through trail cameras in the previous year, I got really good footage of this buck, and I passed him up. High 120s, 130. My buddy Felipe was hunting a property that's close proximity to my property where I've been after this buck I call Clubfoot. Calls me up and says, get your cameraman, get down here. You gotta go after this buck. Before I get in the tree, I set up a GoPro ground level about 20 yards away, facing out to the field, hoping that if we do have an encounter with this buck, that I'll catch him GoPro and then my cameraman.
Peak activity times for this hunt brought to you by MoonGuide.com.
That's a stud. That is a giant. And obviously, it's gun season. And we're still doing with the bow, with the Matthews. Don't leave home without it. That is a giant.
Most guys that shoot a compound use a sight. Travis has never shot with a sight. That's kind of his claim to fame.
Lit him up.
And when I first found out that Travis doesn't even use a sight on his bow and everything is strictly instinctive, I had a hard time believing it. But this guy is laying down big deer year after year, and when it comes to shooting, I mean, this guy gets it done, especially on this big buck.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Look at that hold. Are you kidding me? What a giant. What a giant. Look at the mass. This is a buck I call Clubfoot. 3 years of pictures. Easy. Look at that foot where he broke it when he was young. It's been really, really easy to track him on trail cameras. And I passed him up last year. Maybe 120s, maybe 130 inches. Right in front of me, I'll self-video in the easiest shot in the world. I let him walk, hoping that he could turn into something like this. And boy, did he ever. For it to all go down the way it did on this particular day on my buddy's property, I never expected to even have a crack at him on my buddy's property, but to do it after he just saw him that morning was just amazing. And I wasn't even quite sure I was gonna make it happen today because they saw the buck this morning, but you know how it is. Doesn't mean you can climb right back up in the same tree and get it done, but we did, and the rage did work. That is unbelievable. Just lit them up. Thank you, Felipe, for being one of the best buds I've ever met.